Ryan with Grand Roofing, bringing you a quick video, some simple tips and tricks. If you're doing your own roof and you're planning on doing your own roofs for a successful roof, this might give you a little benefit. All you gotta do is watch a few videos, use some common sense with it, read up some instructions. All brands have instructions on the package. It could help you have a successful roof job. A few things I want to point out. We're gonna jump over here real quick before they tear it off. This valley right here, there's no ice and water. That's fine. You know, I really strongly recommend ice and water on the bottoms and in your valleys if you are in a cold region or anywhere for that matter. It's a good insurance policy. What I want to point out is that this is backwards. So if you got water, moisture, condensation, a leak, wind damage, water's getting in, your last defense is the paper. What's going to happen is water's going to run down. Because this is done backwards, it's going to run right under this. This is not the right way. You want to make sure you start from low, work your way up. You want ice and water here. Your ice and water needs to dump out onto a pass down here. Preferably as you roof it, get your row of shingles under and then your valley come on. Then you can do it ahead of time, but make sure your paper that you're drying the substrate in, your deck surface in, is on top of your valley membrane. Whether it's roll roofing, ice and water, graze, I don't care whatever brand you're using, it needs to dump on so water sheds the right way. This is backwards, it's bad, water could go right under. I really hope that the paper is actually crossing over the valleys because that would essentially be the last defense. This one really isn't doing much. Also, here in my region, some people will say it's wrong, but I like to actually put down the edge metal apron and then the ice and water, unless you're gonna go down and wrap into it. The reason is because my thinking is if you're gonna go down like most roofers do at the edge of the roof and then you put your apron on, if you get any backup, it's gonna go under your apron, on top of your ice and water, and then down over your fascia board, wicking into your moisture, the OSB, decking, plywood, whatever it is. One bite's not going to be good, so you can use your own judgment on that. I like to go on top because it's going to seal. Let's jump over these other couple parts here I wanted to point out real fast. Alright, so we're going to talk about wall flashing, real quick, step flashing in particular. If you're going to use flashing like this, step flashing, don't nail it all the way down to your roof deck. Every piece was nailed down, then they shingled it. Problem is, you got from the bottom all the way up to the top now, water's running down anywhere in that area. You've only got 2 inches wide where it could jump off and run down in under things. So ideally, you want to get your deck surface dried in, then you want to start shingling from bottom up, obviously. Starter, step flash, diverter, kick out, shingle, step, shingle, step, shingle, step. It's step flashing because every step you have a shingle. So for example, right here is a seam. If this were where a reveal or a buildup or exposure part of your shingle was, and this is the start of your head lap, this shingle goes down on that, then your next shingle, then your step, then your shingle. I may have said that backwards, if so, sorry. You want this seam to be where your buildup is. So if it's a 5 5/8 exposure, if you're 5 5/8 exposure of your shingle, then your step is right there at that. I'm not a fan of nailing low. I want to nail high, keep it pinned in. You can nail up on here if you want, whatever. Just if you do, spot them. But anyway, shingle step, it's important. Let me back up if I didn't say. Some areas require ice and water. Some counties, towns, municipalities require certain different things with code. So check with your area. If they require certain things, make sure you abide by your area's instructions or at least manufacturer's recommendations. So again, manufacturers, look at the package. They all have instructions what you should or shouldn't do. And it's a good starting point. And then also, if you use YouTube videos, use a little common sense and how water flows because there's a lot of people out there giving out bad info. All right, let's jump over here to Plywood, CDX, whatever you want to refer to it as. This is 3/8. It's delaminating. This is not good. It should have never have gone roofed over. This is in pretty bad shape. Your nails are not going to hold. They're not going to fasten down. Luckily, there's only a handful of areas they left. This needs to all be replaced. The pipe flashings. If you have any kind of pipe flashing, whether it's a soil vent pipe, whether it's a chimney flue pipe, chimney flashing, B-vent, doesn't matter. If you have a protrusion come through it and you got to vent a flashing, it's really important, once you dry your deck surface in, you get your shingle start like the manufacturer says, running from bottom up, and it tucks under your flashing. If this one here was nailed down, so is this. It was just simply nailed to the roof deck and then they shingled it. Problem is water shedding down off your shingles now hits the flange. Well, you're cutting your shingle to go around this, and then it runs under these shingles now, getting into all your nail holes and things. It's very important that you bring your shingles up under, sufficiently far under your flange, then your flange, then your shingles on top, the high side here. That way water coming off your shingle, onto the flange, off the flange, on top of a row of shingles and down. Any kind of protrusion like that. More about the wood. This is OSB. Stands for Oriented Strand Board. There's a particular way this needs to go onto the roof. So if you're not aware, the majority of these strands, because it's oriented strand board, they're oriented in such a way that the strength is this direction. You try to flex those grains this way, it's not going to go very easy, but they will roll this direction, if that makes sense. Why does that matter on this? And you can't say that everything needs to run this way. It's depending upon how the building your roofing or decking is built. This has rafters or trusses going from eave to ridge. So in this case, those need to be turned 90 degrees. They need to be perpendicular to there. So the strength is this direction. So these are backwards. Over time, if that were to stay, or if you roof or deck a whole surface that way over time, it will start to warp. It's not going to be good. So for example, if you have a pole barn, you got rafters or trusses, then you got purlings that go across those typically. Then your decking in that case would want to run vertical like this because the strength is crossing the purlings. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, this stuff is in bad shape. You can't leave this like that. So we got a handful to replace. Now out here, I'll point out that this is going vertical. It's probably because this is an overhang. A bit of an overhang, you can see. Some of the homes were built in such a way that they've got little nailers coming out, come across into a rafter or a truss, and that's what's giving it the support going out. So they probably have nailers going out on that gable end out there to the fly rafter. Ooh, almost did it again. Almost hit the stop button. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything here, just because this is kind of on the fly here. Oh, the flat. It's important if you're doing a flat section. I just came across something right down here. Let's take a look at it. This piece of, two pieces of sheet of wood that come together. By the way, it's backwards too. This sheet's actually upside down. There is a rough texture side. One of the sides is a little more rough, so the steeper the roof you're walking on or working on, it gives you a little more grip. So you typically, ideally want that up. Plus it has lines, typically different manufacturers, to give you a better idea as a framer or decking it in where to shoot to hit your trusses. It doesn't have to be that way, but this is slick side out, so it still works, still does its job, just a pointer on that. But this piece right here, if this is not being secured and fastened down over time, giving, moving, warping, heat, expansion, contraction, it's going to flex and give if it's not secure. Then you get nails that are going to pop up, potentially do damage. If it is a horizontal piece like this right here, it poses a potential even bigger problem because the water's shedding, running down. If you get a buckled piece of wood, it's going to cause a little bit of a dam. It's going to block water. It's going to make it run laterally into your keyways and things, potentially backing up under your shingles. So just be aware. You want to make sure if you're decking a surface, put your H-clips in. At a very minimum, drive a little 16 or an 8 in, temporarily just tack it so you can space those sheets. It will allow them to expand and contract. If they expand and hit each other, it's going to buckle. H-clips also help keep the sheets locked together because they're sandwiched in there. So this will need to be addressed as well. To the flat section we go. I looked at this earlier. You want to make sure that whatever your membrane is right here, you can't use shingles on this. It's way too flat. It needs either TPO, torch down, modified stuff, EPDM, whatever, roll roofing, something for a flat roof, which is okay what this has. We're going to replace it. But the point I want to bring up right here is the height. This is about a 112 section to about a 4 or 512. What you have, if you don't have this piece right here go up high enough on the roof deck and you get cold snow gathering and it melts due to the right temperatures and the warmth coming up to your attic, it's going to melt, come down over this little lean-to shed area that is obviously not heated and cold. It will refreeze right here, backing up, causing an ice dam. If your ice dam is built up just enough, like say this is flat and this is a 412. A 412 means for every 12 inches in, you go 4 inches up. If you have a 4-inch block of ice and snow right here, it's going to be coming back past that foot mark. If this doesn't come up far enough, you risk it backing up potentially under your shingles and then down under your membrane. So you want to make sure your membrane, whatever you're using, goes up far enough to adequately cover and protect the region that you're in for ice dam. If you do have ice damming going on, your roof's already done, there are a few things you can do. It's not going to fix the problem, but will help eliminate, which is heat tape. It's just like an extension cord like stuff you plug in the wintertime, maybe put on a switch, whatever, have an electrician look into it and do that for you. But it just keeps warm just enough so it won't freeze. It'll keep it in a melted and continue to work its way down. So you can do that. I don't recommend it. Draws current, energy. Everybody's energy conscious these days. Just something you can look into if you do have ice damming in those prone areas. 9 minutes, 55 seconds. Got to get ready to wrap up here. I got a lot to do. It's day before Thanksgiving. Shot a video right next door over here. But I need to get ready to get on my road because this past 2 hours was unexpected, slow going to bring you guys some more content. So if you could, give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If you're a homeowner looking at doing your stuff, just look up a little bit before you actually do your project. It could save you a lot because this one here was only done a month ago. There's a lot of stuff that was done wrong on it, causing some problems. So that's why we're redoing it for them in a pinch. You don't want to have that issue. So my intent is to help you. You can help me. Give it a thumbs up. Happy Thanksgiving. Until next time. Oh, subscribe. Please subscribe. Share the video with you. Until next time, be safe, and we'll see you then.